Hey, Don Williams here with today's episode of the Proven Entrepreneur Show. I got a great guest. She's hiding out in Mexico, Clare Baukham, with Clear Wealth Group and Clear Art Reserve. Claire, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thrilled to have you. Before we get started, you have these two, they fit together, but they wouldn't fit together for most people. Okay, pretty creative that you fit them together. Tell us about Clear Wealth Group and Clear Art Reserve and what you do in those two companies and who you serve and why you do it. Just tell us your story.
Absolutely. So I started actually as a floral designer, believe it or not. I'm Canadian, so I was downtown Toronto, working the floral circuit. I got a really good name there, and I ended up opening my own flower store. But of course, I developed an allergy to the flowers. Why not? So you may as well be allergic to your passion and your dream. So I actually became a full-time actress as well. I sold my store and I was doing both for a while and I sold my store. Yeah. And I became an actress and I opened a theater company and was going very well. To be honest, every business I was in, it was about how can I become incredibly wealthy? So I was working, I was kind of slowing down on acting a little bit because the gigs are just not there. Every actor is pretty much always unemployed. So I decided I didn't want to be unemployed all of the time. I wanted to make a lot of money. So I took rich over fame. So um, my parents owned a machine shop, lawnmowers, chainsaws, outdoor power equipment, basically. And I was working with them and they wanted to retire and I didn't want to take it over. So we decided the trajectory of the business was not going to be as lucrative as because the Home Depots and all of those were coming and they had the same kind of equipment as us, right? So the little guy was getting squeezed out, which was fine. It was time for them to go and time for me to move on. So I did, and I became an options trader, full-time options trader. I just went off and I learned technical analysis and I started trading the markets and I got a really good name for myself. People started to hear, oh, this Clare Baukham is a really good trader. I'm going to give her my money because she's making a lot of money on her own. Well, it turns out you need a license for that. So anywhere in the world, well, maybe not anywhere, but so I decided to become a financial advisor. Remember when my husband said to me, well, you should just become an advisor, get your hours in the business, and then you can be, you can start your hedge fund. I don't want to be a financial advisor. That's gross. I didn't have a good image of them in my mind. So I did become one. My first gig as an advisor, I was making 4,000 cold calls a week. So it was very boring for me. I am very creative. I'm very much an entrepreneur. I needed to get out of that. So I went down the street from where I was living and I basically walked into the firm and I said, hey, I want to join your firm. I want to get licensed and let's do it. So we did. And I was basically going to go in there, get my hours and then get out of there as fast as possible. However, I got basically the largest advisor in the country took me under his wing and he started to teach me all of these really interesting strategies that none of the other advisors knew because they didn't have, I guess, he used to call me a diamond in the rough. So I guess they didn't show that to him. So he thought, I'm going to take you with me, basically. So he did. And I was really fortunate. I made a lot of money. I won a lot of awards. I made my clients a lot of money because of the strategies he taught me. And then from then, to be honest, from day one, I was a superstar in this business and I was unhappy.
Mm.
I felt like somebody even came back to me. We used to sit in the bullpen where all of the new advisors would sit together and make those calls and everything, right? And this is about 15 years ago now. And one of the other advisors came up to me and he said, you're too big for this place. And I didn't let that go to my head. Like, yeah, I am too big for this. It wasn't about ego. It was about, you're right. There's something else down the line for me that I'm feeling somewhere else because everything in my life was always about making the most amount of money for myself and my clients the easiest way possible. Not meaning bad things, illegal things, but meaning what else is out there? How did people get super rich in or wealthy in life, right? So off I went to another firm and my boss was a billionaire. So there I was in his massive boardroom overlooking the helicopter pad. He has a very, very tall man, big hands. I took his big hand in mine and I said, so how'd you do it? And he told me the entire story of how he became a billionaire. So, with that in my mind, fast forward a couple of years, I'm studying. I'm going to show you how I married the two companies. I'm studying mindset basically for high performers in $100 million, $92 million mansion in Bel Air, California. So we got to be in the house for the day, take your shoes off, walk around in your bare feet, really feel the feeling of being in the house, right? So I'm in this beautiful house, really nicely done. We get to go upstairs, change. There's a group of men and women, change for dinner, come back down, and there's the owner of the house. And if you're like me, you want to meet the owner of $100 million house. So I went right up to him and I said, "Hey, I'm Clare Baukham. It's nice to meet you. I just wanted to introduce myself and let you know I love your place here." And right beside him was his art dealer. So, and the art dealer said to me, "Oh, hi." He introduced him. So he kind of interjected. And he said, "Have you ever thought about art as an asset class? Because doing what you do, you guys don't usually get into." And I said, "No, we don't normally get into art as an asset class. You're right." So from there, I started to let it percolate and swirl. And every night I would do the research. As much as I attacked those strategies that my mentor gave me, I started to really research art. Honestly, I love art as a passionate, creative person, but that's not what this was for me. This was more, can this be an asset class that really works for people and can create that alpha in their portfolio that we're all seeking this piece. Everyone's got that constant rate of return, that beautiful beta. If you have an advisor, I'm pretty sure, especially in the last year, I've seen some of my personal portfolio and some of my clients, I've seen them go up 60, 70% with some of the things. Great. Everyone should have been making money in the last year. However, 60, 70% is incredible. How are you making 1 and 200% in something alpha related, right? Warren Buffett always gets into, we hear it, silver. Oh, Warren's buying a whatever amount of $100 billion of silver or gold or oil. I didn't want anything that was so volatile. Everyone's dealing with the roller coaster at all times. You're dealing with it with your government, with your taxes, with your job, with the uncertainty. If you've got kids, it's a whole other thing that you're dealing with. So I wanted something stable. I wanted to know what the ultra wealthy were doing. And that was what I wanted to start directing my people towards. So you asked me, who am I normally dealing with? I deal with a lot of C-suite execs. I deal with a lot of business owners because the mindset of a business owner and an entrepreneur, it's very different than an employee.
No doubt.
So they're looking for things. Yeah, they're looking for those things, those alternative. You've heard of the strategies of be your own banker by using these long-term life insurance, permanent life insurance. We do those as well for all these people. So my thought was, can I get out of the traditional line of financial advisory and start to really help people who are in that, earning as a household 3 to 500 plus, 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 plus. So we get into people that are making 10, 20 million, 30, even plus, plus, right? But however, we do not exclude people who are really willing to and want to go the distance and become those people who are making that 10, 20, 30, $100 million a year. It's not fair, right? We were all little guys at one point. So I'm coming from not being able to afford fruit in the winter at my parents' machine shop when I was a kid. So I believe that everyone gets equal opportunity, right? So
Yeah,
that's my
I think
story.
I think most self-made people are always at a certain point are looking for how can they reach behind them and help somebody else up. And that's
Pull people up. Yeah.
pretty common with people who started with nothing. A little different with people who inherited, but people who started with nothing, they're almost
Yes.
always looking to help somebody. Okay, so great story, great background. You obviously were hitting 500-foot home runs right off the bat, and people recognize that. Let me ask you a couple of questions. In that group, what's like the biggest money mistake you see really successful, really intelligent people making, and why are they making that mistake?
Even at that level, you will find that the money is still too loud for all of them, meaning they're
Tell me more
chasing,
about money
they're
too loud.
grinding. Yeah, they're grinding, they're hustling, they're exhausted, they're stressed, they're sick, they're unhappy. And all of those things for me will pinpoint back to how you are with your money. If you're unhappy with your job, for example, let's just take that's a super common one. If you're unhappy with your job, you're not going to be performing as highly as you could be. You're going to be scraping. If you're feeling like it's a hustle and a grind, I have guys right now that I'm dealing with, and I'm grinding. I said, let's remove that language, because even as a wealth architect, I may not be helping people with their plan and their budget. I don't do budgets. I don't think it's not for me. But even with all of that, everyone is dealing with this noise. It's loud out there. So not enough of them are dealing with beautiful, quiet wealth and quiet wealth strategies. Everything is so in your face. You've got all the ladies with and no offense, I love Louis Vuitton. They're a beautiful brand. It's loud, loud fashion, loud brands everywhere. Look at me. I'm going to jump off a building. No more jump off a building. Quiet, zen, peaceful. You can make money. I know some of my clients I've got one guy I'm just thinking of in particular. The guy walks into the gym. He's probably worth, I don't know, $500 million, something like that, including everything everywhere globally. And he walks in just a regular t-shirt and nothing shorts. Now he's got his Rolls Royce parked in the gym parking lot. It's a beautiful machine. You just wouldn't know. His hair is kind of fluffy. So this is that beautiful, quiet wealth. So that's what I see is missing. If
I
the
love that.
portfolio is feeling, if it's too loud, there's too much volatility. It shouldn't all be like that. There should be a piece or all of it that should be architected so that it just goes beautifully. And you go and you do your job and let us do ours for you quietly.
Love that. Okay, so when you say the word financial freedom, what does that look like in quiet wealth?
It looks to me, I did a post the other day on my Instagram, and as you know, I'm hiding in Mexico. It's what I do all winter. I have to get away from the Canadian winters. And I posted the ocean, and one of my clients said to me, that's what quiet wealth sounds like. So
Nice.
think about it. The freedom to be here, work from anywhere. I homeschool my kid. He's 6 years old. That may not be for everyone. Quiet wealth, what does it look like? It looks like, what is the biggest vision that you have for yourself? Is it hopping on a private jet and going to the island and sipping whatever you want to sip on? Is it working from your computer I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning with my husband and we work for 3 or 4 hours? What is it? It's whatever you want it to look like. It's getting away from the grind. You notice that more and more of us are sick. I have Crohn's disease, severe Crohn's disease for 22 years. Stress. Stress is my number one trigger. Why? Why are we all stressed? Money is just a tool. We shouldn't feel this stressed and tense about it. Even the clients, like I said, who are making tens and 20, $100 million a year in their companies, they feel that too. And they really shouldn't have to. It should be more of an autopilot. So the freedom could be going to work every day if you're loving it. I think the freedom is when you get to the end of your life, are you going to feel good about everything behind you?
I love
So
that
always
definition.
taking everything and your plan and think about, when I'm there on my deathbed, how is that dash? You're born, you're dead. The dash in between, how does that look? Right? So for me, wealth really relates to everything in life, right? So you can see, I can relate it to anything, because everyone's running around out there right now trying to make as much as possible, as fast as possible. So why? So they can have that freedom. But you can have the freedom now, today, right? As long as you're structuring it properly.
Love that. So, what's one financial decision that people, when they first come to you, that they've delayed that costs them?
So many people are afraid to use other people's money to get themselves ahead, because they don't know what they don't know. But so many people haven't done any saving or very little saving. So they say to me, well, right now we're making a 500,000 as a household or 1 million as a household. We'd like the same in our retirement. And that's nice. You only have, 3 million saved. You're not going to be able to take, if you're taking between 3 and 6% from the portfolio, this is not going to work for you, right? So a lot of them, most people are ignoring what just needs to be done. It's kind of like the weight loss thing, the eating well thing. We know we should be doing it, but it's like, yeah, but I'm going to have a pizza tonight. It's like we avoid it. It's painful, right? But if we just lean into it a little bit, I think that people, even at the extremely wealthy side, they really don't understand the tool of money. They know how to make it, but then they don't know what to do with it. So those are the things I see the most.
Yeah, I love that, and I certainly think they're separate skills. It's one thing to make money, and a lot of people never figure that part out. And it's another thing to grow money, from an investment standpoint, and even fewer people kind of figure that out, I think. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Claire, if somebody listening wanted to reach out to you or your company, what's the best way they should do that?
Yeah, so they can reach me on one of our websites, clearwealthgroup.com or clearartreserve.com, or if they want to find me personally, my Instagram handle is at Clare Baukham.
Awesome. Claire, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show today. You are a breath of fresh air in your industry. And so thank you so much. I'm grateful.
Thank you. That is lovely to hear. I appreciate that.
That's today's episode of the Proven Entrepreneur Show. We'll see you next time. Thanks.